Hey everyone, welcome to the Unfocused Show. I'm your host, Paul Tran. I want to talk to the entrepreneurs that are raising capital and also the investors who are investing in startups. One of the things that turns me off when startups pitch me, and one that I help clients avoid when they hire me to help fundraise for their projects, is a misguided exit plan. A lot of conversations go like this. We're going to do X and X million dollars in year one, X and X million dollars in year two, then we're going to build critical mass and then get acquired or go public. And I think that's really cute. And I also wonder what drugs you're taking. I'm all for putting your best foot forward, focusing on the best case scenario, and getting investors excited. I mean, there's so many projects out there, and there's limited capital, and one wrong move can wipe you out. And so why wouldn't you? And I've had the privilege of working with companies that ended up going public, that ended up getting acquired, and it's an honor. But I also want to help you face reality that out of the 100 plus companies that I've consulted for, only one or two have actually hit those milestones. And number two, you need to assume that you most likely will not be acquired or go public. But I don't want you to be discouraged though. You don't have to sell this pie in the sky rare event in order to get capital and to build a profitable business. And this applies to both whether you're on the entrepreneur side or on the investor side. But if this is true, the question would be, how do you revise your pitch and increase the chances of getting those checks? And for the youngsters out there, how do you revise your pitch and increase the chances of getting those Zelle, Venmo, and Ethereum deposits? I have two major strategies for you. The first strategy is to build a company for customers, not investors. You might have read or heard about some stories of companies that were too focused on pleasing investors, that they cut corners, they ruined customer experiences, and they stripped the soul and the DNA of the enterprise just so that they can post one or two, maybe even 3 good quarters. And that's not going to last very long. Then there are companies like Amazon, where they told their investors early on, and they continually told them on earnings calls, that they're not going to get their dividends early. Customers come first. They're reinvesting profits into scaling the company. Oh, customers come first. And their quarterly returns are probably going to look shitty, but it's in exchange for an amplified return later. So the two tenets of deferred gratification and customers come first were something that Wall Street did not like, and they punished Amazon's stock price early on. But you know what happens? I mean, now they're one of the most valuable companies in the world, and most households can't live without them. And a fun fact, Amazon went IPO in 1997 at $18 a share. If you had invested $10,000 and just left it there, did nothing else, even made a complete wreck of your life, you'd still have $16 million waiting for you at the end of it, currently. So put investors in their place. Let them know that they're important, but they're not as important as customers who pay the bills and build their wealth. And that requires building a company with substance and a product that matters. And I also wanted to share a passage from a book, Rework, by Jason Fried and David Hannemeyer Hansen. If you've been following me for some time now, you know it's one of my top 5 most game-changing books ever. And this short section is called Building to Flip is Building to Flop. Here it reads, what is it with people who can't start building something without knowing they're going to leave it? What's the hurry? Your priorities are so out of whack if you're thinking about getting out before you even dive in. Would you go into a relationship planning the breakup? Would you write the prenup on the first date? Would you meet with a divorce lawyer the morning of your wedding? That would be ridiculous, right? So you need a commitment strategy, not an exit strategy. The odds of getting acquired are so tiny. There's only a slim chance that some big suitor will come along and make it all worthwhile. Maybe 1 in 1,000, 1 in 10,000. Plus, when you build a company with the intention of getting acquired, you emphasize the wrong things. Instead of focusing on getting customers to love you, you worry about who's going to buy you. There's no commentary further needed for that. The second strategy is to make death the exit plan. When I hear founders tell me that they plan on going public in a few years, I say pass. And not only is it unrealistic, these startup founders are thinking too short term. they aren't exhibiting deep resilience, deep belief in their offering, and deep love for what they do. And I worry that pain tolerance will cave when tough times happen. And newsflash, tough times 100% will happen, whether it be COVID, recession, competition, an employee that wrecks things. It's going to happen. And so I like it when a founder tells me that, in a perfect world, they'd love to do this for the rest of their lives. That going public and getting acquired would be nice, but they're not counting on it. And they're building in the realm of reality, not what would be nice to have. And I mean, there are some companies that have successfully been able to get acquired before they even made $1, and Instagram is a perfect example of this. But keep in mind that it's an exception and not the rule, and to beware of survivorship bias. And survivorship bias is when you read one or two case studies that a media outlet is willing to share that has made it, and you don't see the other 99.99% of companies that follow that same exact strategy and did not make it. So in this case, if you could not sell the company and this business is a life sentence, how would you build the company so that it's meaningful, profitable, and lasts? And Craigslist is a perfect example. It's a company that's worth $2 billion. They post $660 million annually. They only have about 50 employees, which means that each employee generates over $13 million for Craig Newmark, the founder. And he is never going to go public. He doesn't need to. And he said death is his exit strategy. And I wouldn't have mind being an investor in that. And in this case, you want to tell investors that you're treating this business like a life sentence. I mean, you may get out early on good behavior, meaning going public or getting acquired. You might need to swallow your pride if the business has outgrown you and you need to serve the company better by hiring another CEO. But you plan on being there for the long haul, and being able to say that puts more investors at ease. And so those are the two strategies. Kind of curious to know what you think. If you have any advice or some thoughts about it, please put it in the comment section. And if you found this really helpful, please share it, and also please subscribe as well. It helps give me a signal that I should keep on making this content. And that's it for now. I'll see you guys on the next episode.